Okay, so let's try out this new strategy example. It says find x, assume that any segment that appears to be tangent is tangent. Okay, and so, come on, OneNote. All right, here we'll do this. Okay, so in this case, we're doing the arc in between the two secant lines. We're going to do big arc minus little arc. We just want to do big minus little so you don't end up with a negative number. All over 2 is going to equal the exterior angle, in this case x. So we're talking about 120 minus the 40 all over 2. So you're going to do order of operations, would say do what's in the numerator first. So 120 minus the 40 gives us 80. 80 divided by 2 would be 40 degrees for the exterior angle x. Okay, let's look at part B. This one is a little bit more exciting because this time we don't know one of the arcs between the two secants. We know the 106 of the arcs in between the two secants. We know actually already we know the exterior angle is 71. So the formula is we take the big arc, we subtract the little arc, oops, there we go, and divide by 2, and that's equal to the exterior angle, which in this case is the 71. So the big arc is x, the little arc is the 106, and I can't do x minus 106 and divide by 2. So what I have here, what you have to do is treat this like an equation that you need to solve for x. So let's think about in this equation, how would you get x by itself? Well, of course, you'd get rid of that 2 in the denominator first. You're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 2. So that gives you x minus 6 equals 142. Then you're going to add 106 to both sides. And so x is going to be 248. And that's it. That's your answer. That arc q to the t to the s, q to the t to the s was 248. All right, so both of these problems so far were, according to our strategy sheet, they were both strategy 4A. So let's go look at our strategy sheet. So 4A was for exterior angles when the secants both went all the way through the circle. What we're getting ready to look at in our next example is strategy 4B, in which it's still outside, the secants still cross outside the circle, but notice where those secant lines are now. The secant lines aren't secants anymore at all. They're two tangent lines now because they're just touching the circle. They're not going through the circle. Okay, so this is with tangent lines, and this one over here was with secant lines, but it's the same strategy anytime you have an outside angle, an exterior angle. It doesn't matter if they're secant or tangent lines. So you're still doing the 300 minus the 60 all over 2. So if you look at your strategy sheet, 300 minus the 60 all over 2, 40 over 2, so the exterior angle is 120. So let's go back. So on our note packet, this was strategy 4A, and this was strategy 4A, and this is going to be strategy 4B. So let's take a look at part C. So on this one, we've got our two tangent lines, x. X is supposed to be this angle here. Okay, and so the two arcs that we have involved are the 106, that's in between, and then you have the rest of the circle. That whole thing is the other arc that is in between those two tangent lines. So what's confusing about this particular problem is we don't know two things. We don't know the 106, nor do we know x to the z to the y there in green. Aha, but we have a strategy to find the green arc because we know that all the degrees of an entire circle would be 360 degrees. So if I used up 106 in the yellow part and the green part is the rest of the circle, I could just subtract and I get 2 for the green arc. So now, same strategy we did before. You take big arc minus little arc, divide it all by 2, and that equals the exterior angle in this case. So we're going to take the 254 minus the 106, all divided by 2 equals x. So this time, notice x is this hand side. It's already isolated. So all we have to do is do the computation of here on the left-hand side of the equation. So we're going to do numerator first, 254 minus the 106. That's what order of operations would say to do. So that's 148. 148 divided by 2 gives us 74. So 74 degrees is the exterior angle. All right, let's go and look at these two U-tris. So first of all, the first thing I want you to think about when you're looking at these problems is which strategy do I need? So if you look at U-tri 1, those are two tangent lines outside the circle. So this would be strategy 4B. And on U-tri 1, those are a secant and a tangent. We would treat it the same as two secants. I would call this strategy 4A if it were me, but you could make an argument for 4B. Either way, pause the video, give it your best shot to solve these two, and then we'll come back and see how you did. Okay, so you can see what I've done is I've color-coded. This just helps me keep track of what the big picture strategy is. So I know it's going to be big arc in green minus blue arc divided by 2 equals the exterior angle x. So again, don't get lost by the fact that you don't know green yet. Let's just stick to the strategy, right? What we do know is that there's 360 degrees in the circle. We know the blue part is 99, so 360 minus the 99 gives us 261. Then from here I can solve because again, x is already by, all you have to do is simplify the left-hand side of the equation and away you go. So 261 minus the 99 in the numerator is 162 divided by, which is 8 for x. And U-tri 2 over here, again, that you don't know the green portion yet. For now, let's just think about the big picture of strategy and fill in. What you know is that the stratus yellow arc in between, the arc in between two lines that come to intersect at point M. We know green minus yellow all over 2 equals. So let's fill in what we know. We know the yellow arc is 78. We know the exterior angle is this over here. The only thing we don't know is the green arc. So something, we call it x, right? And then this time, notice where x is. X is in the formula over here on the left this time. And so this time, since x is not already isolated, we get to do the work of isolating it, this algebra problem. So my first step would be to multiply both sides by 2. And so I get x minus 78 equals 72. Okay, then we're going to add both sides to get x by itself. It'd be 150 degrees.